Welcome, everybody, to Which Makes Better, Bubbles, Skim, Milk, or Whole. I'm Tom Zinnan. I work here at the UW-Madison Biotechnology Center. I also work for the Division of Extension, Wisconsin 4-H. And I'm joined by my colleague, Liz Jesse.
Hello, everyone. As Tom said, I am Liz Jesse. I also work at the Biotechnology Center normally, but I am in my own home today, which is probably where you are. So it works out pretty well. We have me working at home, which is where you are, and then we have Tom in the lab. When after the pandemic, hopefully you can come visit us in the lab where Tom is right now.
So our puzzle today is which makes better bubbles, skim milk or whole? Which makes better bubbles, skim milk or whole? It might go by the name no fat milk or fat-free milk or whole milk, but we're going to call it skim and whole. And the puzzle question is which makes better bubbles, skim milk or whole? Now, there's a lot of different ways that you as a scientist could start to field or respond to that question. You could take a poll, you could try to remember, you could try to logic it out. But as scientists, Liz, what do we do as scientists?
Well, as scientists, we always play a little word play with our students. As scientists, if you change the second I in scientist to an E, you turn it into scientist. That is what scientists. Go ahead, we are scientists.
We're going to go and test the idea. So, which makes better bubble, skim milk or whole? Liz, how many cups do you think we need?
Well, if we have two milks that we're going to be testing, it probably makes sense that we have 2 cups.
Okay, and how many straws are we going to need?
Well, if we have 2 cups for 2 types of milk, it would make sense to have 2 straws, or if you only have 1 straw, you could cut it in half and get yourself 2 straws.
So the big idea is no matter how many straws you have or how many cups you have, it's got to be fair. So we have 2 cups, 2 types of milk. Most humans are born with 2 hands, and in that way, a lot of us are built to compare. We're like the Libra, the balance, the symbol of fairness. So how much milk goes into each cup?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, because it sounds like it's a quantitative question, but is it really?
Well, we're talking about fair. So think of it in terms of designing a fair experiment. How much milk would you have?
Well, I could put 50 mils in one and 75 in the other, and that would be quantitative, but it wouldn't be fair. So the only right answer to how much milk goes into each cup is
the same.
Same. So it could be either 1/3, 1/3, or 1/2 or 1/2, 2/3, 2/3, whatever you want, but it's got to be the same. So go ahead and let's pour some whole milk into 1 cup. However much I put into that, I got to put that much of skim into the other cup.
Hey, Tom, how do you know the difference between what's in your cups? Because milk looks a little different. The different varieties of milk look a little different, especially chocolate and non-chocolate. But skim and whole look pretty similar. So how are you telling the difference?
Well, I'm putting my jug of milk on the right-hand side with the milk that went in it, and the other milk over here on the left-hand side with the milk that went in there. How are you telling the difference?
I marked my cups. So I have disposable plastic cups so I can mark them. But yeah,
Okay.
If you're at home in your kitchen and you're using cups that maybe you don't want to mark with a Sharpie, you can use Tom's technique, or you can just write on a little piece of paper in front or underneath your cup so you know what you're working with.
So now it comes the big question, which makes better bubble, skim milk or whole? We've got it set up in a fair way. We've got 2 cups. They have the same amount of milk in them, 2 straws. Now, do we blow 1 straw and then the other, or do we blow in both straws at the same time?
Does anybody say that you can't use both techniques?
Oh, a third approach. Okay. So sometimes when you're designing an experiment, and this is about designing an experiment, you come to a decision, a fork in the road, and you get to take that fork in the road. In other words, can you do it one and then the other? Yes. And can you do it 2 at the same time? Yes. So you don't even have to worry about which one is better because you're going to try them both. So I'm going to try them both straws at the same time, and then I can try it the other way. Here we go.
Nice.
So we had the question, which makes better bubble, skim milk or whole? But now we're arriving at this dawning that, whoa, what do we mean by better? do we mean by better? How many different ways can we tell the milks apart? The weird thing about the question, which makes better bubble, skim milk, or whole, is it's not a very well-framed question. And we have to learn to recognize it when somebody asks us a poorly framed question. So now let's reframe it and say, which one makes, well, how many different things can you see, Liz, that we can compare the two milks by?
Well, if I look at my bubbles, I mean, my whole milk is already completely flat and my bubbles are totally gone. So
Wow.
yeah, so you can think of length of time that they're bubbles.
Okay, fancy word for that is duration. Is that right?
Yep, duration works. Also, you can look at the clarity or how clear the bubbles are.
Oh yeah, clarity.
Because skin is very, very like you can see right through it, right? Transparent, and the whole milk is not so much.
So it's a little hard for me to tell. It'd be great to be able to take a picture of both of these and then count them. But I'm wondering which ones make smaller bubbles and which ones make bigger bubbles, or if there's even a significant difference between the two of them. So size of bubbles could be another one. How about size of mound before it falls over?
That's a good one. Height of mound, that works.
Holy cow, look at that. They're both doing pretty good. And now I'm going to do this, which is standability. I'm going to let the two straws stand in there, and the straw becomes the testing device for the strength of the mound of bubbles. Look at that. How's yours doing, Liz?
My whole milk is very weak. It's gone. The bubbles are gone again.
All right, so my whole milk straw just fell over. This is like a wrestling match. It was a fall, a pin. Okay, I'm going to try it again. Liz, do scientists usually, especially when we're doing experiments, do we usually do things just once, or do we do them over and over again?
No, we do multiple trials. If you do it one single time, who knows if it's going to be consistent, right? It could have been any numerous things that could have affected it. So that's why we do numerous trials.
All right. So now we're going to do the next thing, which is the state dance. The state folk dance of Wisconsin is?
The polka.
So let's test polkability. Now with all of these, you never know for sure whether they're going to be different or indistinguishable, the same. And I'm not really seeing a whole lot of, we'd have to come up with some really good way to test them, but it's, they both seem to be pretty polkability to me. And now it's time for the bad joke alert. Why? Because Liz and I have lots and lots, and if you're doing this at home, you have lots and lots of data now, lots of observations, lots of cool things that you've seen and discovered about your milks. If you want to quickly get that across, if you want to quickly communicate that to your family or friends, what can you do? Well, one thing is you can talk a lot, but the other thing is you could, well, let me ask you this. How many legs does a table normally have?
Depends on the table, but like 4.
Yep. And what do we call a table that has no legs?
I have one of those right in front of me, Tom.
Oh, good.
A data table.
Very good. So take, if you can take a sheet of paper, you're going to make a table out of a sheet of paper. I know it's a bad joke. That's why we shoot a bad joke alert. Put a big Roman numeral 2 on it. Put S and W on it. Skim and whole. And then over here are all the characteristics that you saw or the folks that you're working with saw. And notice that there could be more than just a few. And you can make out your table. So we've shifted this from which makes better bubble, skim milk, or whole to how does milk fat affect bubblicity in a lot of different ways, because the only known difference between skim milk and whole milk is their milk fat. And so that's a pretty cool thing. And just to wrap up real quick, milk fat's been important in Wisconsin dairying for a long time. In 1890, Stephen Babcock invented his milk fat test, and that helped revolutionize dairying in Wisconsin because people could know how rich in fat each cow's milk was and what the effect of different types of feed were on milk fat. This milk is called vitamin A and vitamin D, Vitamin A was discovered here on this campus, about 150 yards from where I'm standing, by Elmer McCullum and Marguerite Davies in 1913. Vitamin D wasn't discovered on this campus, but a way to figure out how to get it into foods was discovered in 1924, about another 150 yards over this way by Professor Steenbach. So this nice little puzzle here helps develop your science savvy. You can share this with family and friends. It's all about developing your ability to test ideas as a scientist.
Another cool thing about this, about working with milk and food and things like that. Number one, it's cheap, it's easy to get, right? Another thing is you can eat the data, right?
Or drink it.
Or drink it.
On to which makes better ice cream, chocolate or vanilla. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have a good time doing which makes better bubbles, skim milk or whole.